Boy, do we have a treat for you. Our guest, we have Ed Strachar, a very eclectic individual with some powerful achievements and information that you can make, and he makes a huge difference in anyone's life, including yours. First, Ed is a miraculous distance healer. He heals people of almost any disease or ailment over the phone or internet chat, with over 1,000 documented cases. This includes doctors with bad knees, babies in intensive care, chronic fatigue, bad backs and aching joints, cancer, Crohn's disease, and much, much more. Distance healing means by just chatting on the internet or by phone from wherever a person may be. I'm not making this up. This guy is a miracle worker and is here to show how it's done and why there are so few like him on the planet. Ed is a former electronics engineer who invented a microchip in the US and NATO arsenals. He studied chess with the grandmasters in the former USSR, did mental training with professional athletes, and authorized multimedia products such as Into the Genius Zone, Energy Healing, and The Sixth Sense, Reading Genius, where he trained many of the world's fastest readers, and his upcoming health book, Healing with High Energy. Hang on to your seats, my friends. Ed doesn't mince words, and he isn't afraid to hurt feelings, cross boundaries, and tell exactly what he knows, no matter who it offends. I've experienced Ed firsthand, and we're in for a treat. So, here we go, Ed. And distance healing, how does it work? Please explain.
Freddie, thank you. First off, thank you for having me. Wonderful to see. And in full disclosure, I want to share, I met Fred. I hired him as a coach. He is a brilliant coach. I hired him as a coach 2013, actually it was.
Yep.
And then as a reciprocation, I applied my energy work for Fred a couple times. And if you remember, Fred, at that time, you were feeling down and things were going wrong and you didn't know. And I said, Fred, you've got witchcraft on you. And you're like, what? Who? Huh? And after I removed it, you felt better. And then you started understanding. So how does this work? Well, Fred, the most difficult thing to explain is that what we've been taught in school is very limited. You know, you're from Australia, you have beautiful oceans, lots of people are great swimmers, you have beautiful beaches, and you know that there are layers of water, right? Any scuba diver knows that there's layers of water, layers of salinity, the depths. Through the depths, the temperature can change from one layer to another. The salinity can change. The life forms that are in that layer can change. Well, energy is the same way. There's these things called dimensions. Normally, people talk about energy. They're thinking, oh, you're talking about gasoline. What are you talking about? Energy or caloric energy. We get energy from sugar. But now we're talking of higher energy of a higher dimension. And there are actually many dimensions to this. So for the most part, we've never been exposed to this. It's what they call occult knowledge, which means secret, which means a lot of secret societies, many of which are on the dark side of life. Evil is a term commonly used. Know this, and they keep it secret. So secret they keep it that you have to take an oath of death in order to learn, which means that if you reveal these secrets, they have the right to kill you, and you accept that, literally. So how does healing at a distance work? Well, I want you to think of your soul. When we talk about soul, most people don't really understand what that is. We have soul types of music, soul cooking, but your soul is your body and your energy field, of which has many layers and many dimensions to it. So a simple example is you have mental energy where you're thinking, you have emotional energy. The two are very different. They're on different dimensions. Okay. And you have higher energy where you can connect. You know, when you get that idea or the phone rings, and you know who's on it, and you answer, and that person who you knew it was is there. Well, that's an energetic connection at a higher dimension. And that dimension is called the fourth dimension, where typically our psychic pathway or our sixth sense operates in. Well, Fred, here's the reality. And perhaps people have seen where I've healed people with bad knees and cancer and Crohn's disease, bad backs, depression, anxiety. The reality is at these higher dimensions, there are what we'll call parasites. Sometimes they're called demons, entities, evil spirits, or even worse, witchcraft, curses, and other things. And these things come on us and they suck our energy and they darken our world. So people get depressed. And what do they do typically? Well, they go to a medical professional. What's the medical professional do? They give them pills, antidepressants, which literally on the pills says suicide is one of the common side effects. So, hello, Oliver Barrett. Hello, Karen Goldingham. Oliver can't hear or see anything. Try changing to a different broadcast channel because I can't change it. Karen, can you hear us? Karen Goldingham? Hello, you out there in TV land. So coming back to the analogy, Fred, these dark spirits drain our energy, drain our soul. And when the soul gets weak, the body breaks down. Okay. So Karen can hear us loud and clear. So Oliver, you're on a bad channel. And my guess is you're on my Facebook channel, which I'm restricted because they don't like people who speak the truth. So I posted the link to another Facebook page, and that one you should be able to hear us. Okay, all good now. So just imagine, Fred, and take you, I think it was maybe 2016, 2017, where I had helped you. You didn't know what was wrong, but things were going wrong and so forth, and you felt dark and down. And I said, Fred, you got witchcraft on you. Well, witchcraft is this dark energy field that they put around you. And that dark energy field attracts darkness. Okay, it's a negative energy field. And a negative energy field means it attracts what you don't want and repels what you want. Literally, it blocks your love. And it literally drains the soul out of the body. And this is what evil feeds off of. They feed off your soul. So on a lower dimension, you feed off animals' flesh, right? Hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken wings, okay? On a higher dimension, they're feeding off your soul, literally your soul's energy. And they'll block and suck it out of you. And then people get depressed, they get weak, their body breaks down, cancer, bad shoulders, organs, and so on. And what do doctors do? They can do two things: drug you or cut you up, what they call surgery. And oftentimes that doesn't help. Oftentimes those drugs have nasty side effects and they still don't help. They don't cure. They just treat. So what I do, and the way healing works at a distance, is we remove these dark entities. We remove the demons. We remove the witchcraft, working at higher dimensional energy, and then we restore the soul. And when the soul is restored, that's when you feel bright, you feel energetic, and the soul knows how to repair the body. So you don't have to figure it out. The soul knows how to repair the body, but most people's souls are weak. Most people's souls are corrupted and they're dark. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here, Fred?
Yes, I guess in a simplistic way, I look at it. I understand energy is everything. And I know that I have experiences where I can determine whether someone is good to be around or not good to be around.
Sure.
And I can also feel sometimes energetic interference in my life where I go, something is not right, and I need to get still and meditate and just purge whatever's trying to come in and disturb my equilibrium. Quantum physics goes into this pretty heavily. So, people who may or may not be skeptical of the energetic healing and distance healing. I've looked into it recently because I was talked into doing some Reiki and to study it, and I was very skeptical at the start. But having experienced and witnessing things that I don't understand, I've opened my mind to say, look, just because you don't understand something, you don't have to bag it or discount it. So since meeting you, at that time you were talking about, my father was coming towards his end, and that was a tough time for me. But when you offered me healing, I was a bit nervous and skeptical of it. But having experienced what I did, I couldn't dispute or deny that things had changed for me for the better almost instantaneously. And I know that in the Judeo-Christian ethic, they talk about sins to the third and fourth generation. And there's a lot of stuff in there about necromancers and witchcraft and things like that. So a lot of people don't understand. Just because you don't believe it or understand it doesn't mean it doesn't operate. So yes, you're making perfect sense. And the way you're describing it, I'm starting to pick up some things and join some dots.
Yeah, it's quite amazing at how they'll never teach us in school. They kind of hint about it in church here and there through the religions. But the dark movies, of which a lot of movies are dark, they either expose it deeply or hint at it, or, the devil wears Prada. I mean, it's all around. And what few understand is that when we talk about movies, in this entertainment industry that we know called Hollywood, Fred, do you know where the word Hollywood comes from?
Probably got a cult background.
Yeah, it's wood from the holly tree. Okay. And wood from the holly tree is what the witches use to cast their spells. So now in the entertainment industry, they use Hollywood through the movies, through the music, through the entertainment to cast their spells. So the actors, the producers have to be in unison with them. So they have to take an oath of loyalty to Lucifer, to witchcraft, to the devil. They have to show their devil's horns hand sign. Okay. And in order to be led on to perform, not all the extras, but the major performers all have to. And it's an oath of secrecy. So they're casting spells. They're putting mind control. They're installing thoughts in your head. And this is why they call it programming. This is why, Fred, when Disney advertises one of their kid movies and they say it's spellbinding, okay, they're telling you right there, it's binding a spell right into the child's mind. And
sadly, Ed, I can concur with this because in the past, people would have thought this was ridiculous, but a lot of people are waking up about the Hollywood programming. I mean, the whole thing with transhumanism, and I figure Chappie is a Netflix movie about a robot, and they eventually install his creator into a robot because his body gets wrecked, and it's just pure transhumanism, showing people the possibility of where the powers that shouldn't be want to take us.
Yeah. And here's the antidote. And boy, they don't like it. This is why I'm restricted. I have restricted accounts. I've been banned on Facebook numerous times and so forth. The answer is free, simple, and it's called love. 4-letter word. It offends some people. People want to think you have to go through this religion or that holy book. And no. But love, we don't know, mother's love, Aunt Tessie, you love your cat, you love your girlfriend, boyfriend, etc. But love has dimensions to it. Remember, love is an energy, and energy has dimensions. So there's romantic love, that's on one dimension, a relatively low one. And when I do this healing, I surround and project love around a person, but at higher dimensions. And this love will dissolve the dark forces. It chases them away just like light chases away cockroaches. Okay, it removes them, but it's got to be at higher dimensions and of higher power. These dimensions are not normally available to most people, certainly not normally available to most healers. Many will dispute that, but you'll see that many don't have the capability to purify water or to heal people at a distance consistently. 90% success rate is what I have, 90 plus, because we're using higher powered love that is not typically available on Earth. Let me explain. Around Earth, there is something called a frequency fence. So think of Earth, right? We got this ball, and then around it is a fence. Well, what's the purpose of a fence? It's to keep things out and to keep things in. So the good-hearted meditators and do-gooders and those who pray, they pray right up to the frequency fence, which is right between the 5th and 6th dimension. And that's as high as they can get. Evil works up to the 11th dimension. So it's at a higher, more powerful dimension than the prayers and the do-gooders and so forth cannot operate. So you mentioned Reiki. Reiki is a 4th, or maybe a Reiki master, an absolute master, maybe at a 5th dimension. Well, if there's a demon at the 10th, 11th dimension, or a warlock or a sorcerer, it's far more powerful than that Reiki healer. You have to operate then at the 12th dimension to overpower the 11th dimension, the 12th dimension and above, which is where I operate. That means you have to bypass this frequency fence, of which now, Fred, on the planet, there's about 70 people that have energy access past the frequency fence. At that access, that's where you can restore souls. That's where you can awaken organs, joints, and life force. This is something they don't want you to know. And certainly they don't want you to have, because they've put the fence up. And this is something few people know, few people understand, but it's real. And you're listening to someone who 10 years ago, I was right at the brink of suicide because everything was going wrong for me. And I went to numerous healers. No one could help me. Until I finally met one named Raymond Grace who could. He had very high power. And he helped me at a distance. I was amazed. How did he do that? Well, I went to study with him and some others. And then I developed my own connections. And those higher connections are what allow you to gain access past the frequency fence and be able to remove any kind of evil and be able to do it at any distance. Geography simply doesn't matter at that point. So with that, you're welcome, Fred. And this is Fred's show. Fred invited me. I don't want to take over here, Fred. You feel free to jump in here. But if anyone's got questions, we can see the chat. Feel free to ask Fred or me questions. Now, Fred is the author. Tell us about your book, Fred.
I'm a professional counselor, coach, mentor. And I'm passionate about healing, but I don't refer to myself as a healer. I help people with dysfunctional thinking. I help people get clarity. I help, as a life coach, I help people move forward. And I help people with anxiety and depression. And I wrote the book 7 or 8 years ago, The Keys to Happiness and Self-Love, because I met a guy online, Paul Irvine, who was suffering severe depression. And I said to him, because I was working with him on internet stuff, I have an internet business as well. And I said, Paul, Johan told me you're suffering depression. She says, yeah. And I said, how long? I said, 3.5 years. And I immediately started to tear up. And I said, look, can I have a crack at that? I'm an NLP practitioner and I think I can help you. Well, in about 3 or 4 hours, he went into total remission, never to go back to depression again. And he gave me a great testimony. So I went and visited him in Scotland at my own expense and spend a week with him and his family, and did a lot of restoration work on him and his family, and it touched the whole little village of Cowdenbeath because they couldn't believe the change in his life. So he rang me when I was in England, and he said, dude, you telling me this all comes down to self-love? And I said, absolutely. I said, you love yourself, mate. It's all over. It's a done deal. I said, if you're at a level 7, 8, 9 of self-love, you've cracked open the can of worms that's been eating you alive. So he said, you got to write a book or I'll come and get you. So I wrote the book out of that, and I included my life balance and awareness model, which I've been teaching for 25 years, into that book. So that's how the book came about, and it's been a resource. I sold it in the beginning, but geez, there'd be 4,000 or 5,000 copies circulating the globe now in ebook format and hardcover. But I got passionate about the book and got it translated into Hindi and into Tagalog for the Philippines and Spanish. So I had an adventure in Peru with the Spanish thing. I went to India as well and met people there, and went to the Philippines. So it broadened my world, and it's a tool that if anybody wants a copy and they visit my site, www.fkchealth.com.au, you can download a free copy of that book. So I give it away now.
fkchealth.com.au.
That's the one.
Yeah. Lucille, would you be so kind? Lucille's my great assistant from the Philippines, which you mentioned. Type that in there. So Fred, that's fascinating. I mean, self-love, I saw that too. In fact, I'm working with one lady now, and she came to me. She was in her 30s, very healthy. She's a scuba diver instructor, and she constantly complained about bad hips. I would do a healing session with her. Hips would get strong. She'd feel great. But the next day, problem would come back. And finally, I kept coaching her, and I kind of sensed the issue. But finally, she got it. And I said, what'd you do different? She goes, I stopped smoking and stopped drinking. And I said, yeah, because self-destructive habits cannot simultaneously exist with self-love. Does that make sense to you, Fred?
100%. It's mindset, Ed. I mean, really in my own life, I've just turned 69 recently. And what's happened for me is that I now am experiencing better health than I had when I was younger. I can't believe it. I can do things that I even have difficulty in believing because I've got extraordinary high levels of health. My dad lived to 98. He was number 4 in the world for swimming. And
wow.
It's cool. I got good genes. So I said at his funeral a couple of years back, I would like to at least be half the man he was. But I've changed that in the last week and said I'd like to be at least the man he was and maybe more. Why limit the bar? But I've got the internet and I've got the knowledge of study of health that I've had. And he was drinking. A lot of people weren't aware about the energetics of water. And he was drinking from rusty pipes. He might have gone another 5, 10, 15 years if he had good filtered water.
I think you talked to my father. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keen to get into the Kangen water, which is ionized. But it's all energy from every level. And this is why I've opened up this interview with you, because I think the average person, if they're closed-minded, they're not going to learn anything. And I know from adopting my mental mindset, I fell off a ladder a couple of months ago, and I fell 1.5 meters, broke my hand, and fell on the ladder on my ribs. I recovered. 4 weeks later, everything was back to normal. 6 weeks later, 13 weeks later for the broken thumb. But that could be catastrophic for someone my age. That could put them out. And I just know that I was under attack at the time, a spiritual attack. I know that because I'm on the ladder and it just collapsed. It just collapsed, and I think, why is this happening? And I think, well, I'm dealing with some resistance to some evil there, and bang, it tried to take me out. So
yeah. most people, in fact, someone was talking about strokes, and I said, most strokes, heart attacks, a lot of them are evil attacks that look like heart attacks and look like strokes. As you mentioned, these accidents, yeah, those are attacks. And if you're not with them, if you don't join their secret societies, if you don't join the orders, witchcraft, and you take that oath to Lucifer or Satan or whoever, well, then you're not with them and you vibrate higher. And, to some they say, well, maybe I shouldn't vibrate higher so they don't attack me. Well, no, that's kind of like saying stay as sheep so that the sheepdogs won't bark at you. But the idea is to get some freedom here. And most people don't know what freedom is. And if you notice, I'm wearing a Ukraine shirt here because I was just living in Ukraine for 2 years. And I left about 2 months ago. And my heart just bleeds for those people fighting for their lives now in a very unfortunate war, of which when I watch the news, I watch, on the internet, I can watch Australian news, American news. They don't allow us to watch Russian news. But I can just see all the slants, all the deception. And, people often think they're free. And Goethe, the German philosopher, said, no one's more enslaved than those who falsely believe that they are free. And you guys in Australia have been going through a lot. I moved to Florida. Why did I move to Florida? No masks, no vaccines, no requirements. And you know what, Fred? No one's dying. Okay. In fact, I was talking to a nurse. I just came from the YMCA where I go swimming. And the girl worked behind the counter. And I said, how long you been working here? She goes, actually, it's my first day. I said, oh. I said, what'd you do before this? She goes, I'm a nurse. I said, so you're working in a hospital? She goes, yeah. She goes, I couldn't take it anymore. It's all BS. She goes, the hospital will be half empty, but they would say all the beds are full, and they try to create the COVID lie and propagate, that everyone's dying of COVID, and they're changing the diagnoses to COVID and things like that. She couldn't take it anymore. Well, Florida's had enough of that. We've got a great governor named Ron DeSantis who doesn't tolerate this BS. But I really feel for you guys in Australia, and especially Victoria, Melbourne, where you are, where they are full on trying to enforce the propaganda, enforce the lies. And yet the reality is, Buddha said, the truth will always prevail. The truth will always surface, just like bubbles in an ocean. It always is going to rise to the top. And when it does, those people that were enforcing the lies are going to not only look real stupid, but many of them are going to find themselves behind bars. Nevertheless, the karmic implications, because everything you do has a karmic implication. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that is real, and it's enforced, and there's no exceptions. There's no free passes to that.
Yeah. I've, as a counselor and a mentor and a coach, I've had to help so many people through devastation. It's unbelievable. And, I've waived my fee on many of the cases because they just lost everything. One particular client had 4 businesses. Now she's got 2, and she's sleeping on the floor in one of the shops, because she's lost a relationship and where she lived as well. And right. the whole thing is just clandestinely terrible. It's nefarious. I just find that people, intelligent people with high IQs have just been hypnotized and besotted. And they're walking down the road.
Mind control.
They
literally can plant ideas and thoughts into your head, and you think it's yours. Okay? And they can do it by satellite. They can do it through a number of mechanisms. And before I get on to continuing about this, I want to say hello to a lot of people. With Trish Papiti from Melbourne. Hello, Trish. Paula Dollywater from Australia. Hi, Demetrius Clark. Yeah, welcome to Florida. Okay. Wanda Lilly. Hi there, Wanda. Winston White. Nice to see you again here, Winston. Susan Lynn Ramsey. Always a pleasure. Susan's an Australian that now move to Canada. Well, Canada is going through a lot of this stuff too, that they're one step behind, half a step behind Australia. I feel for them. Hello, Sophia, Zoe, Gita Jairaj, nice to see you again. Colleen Holland, always a pleasure. Oliver Barrett, much love to you, buddy. Joe Mangan, hi there. So, Fred, would it be okay with you if we do an energy exercise here?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm
And
open to
when
that.
we do this energy exercise, because there's two types of people: those who talk about it and those who do it. So why not do it? All right, be different. Yeah.
Okay, we're definitely being different with this interview. It's left field of my usual genre, but I thought shake the world up a bit and let them hear another point of view and take a risk, because I think we're in a time where we've just got to be a little bit more open than we have been, and raise our consciousness. My passion in life is to raise consciousness and awareness in myself and others. So that's why I was excited and still am having you on the show, because let's do this energy exercise and see where it takes us.
I'm honored. And this is an exercise where we'll raise the energy of the group. And even though it's a virtual group, some have said hello, some haven't. The energy on the recording, it'll be on Fred's YouTube channel and my YouTube channel and so forth. The energy will still be there because it's at a higher dimension. Time is but one dimension, but at a higher dimension, there is no time. So things are static, which means the energy is there and it's always going to be there. Now, if you're operating or driving or operating anything, this is not for you, because we're going to go into a closed eye process. We're going to go into a level of stillness. Stillness is key, because when the mind is still, then love can expand and connect out to the infinite. I don't use the term God, because God means different things to different people. Every religion has their own God. And it gets really confusing. And most of the time, it's not what people think. And thus, their religions don't hold up. So we're going to connect to infinite love. Think of yourself as a drop and think of infinite love as the ocean. You connect, no matter how polluted that drop is, when it reconnects to the ocean, it purifies. So no matter what problems you're having, you reconnect to the infinite, you have a chance to purify. The only thing in your way is your own mind. So that's why we want to still the mind and get it out of the way. What's the best way to still the mind? Two things: breath and a heartbeat. So before we start, is there anyone here without a breath or a heartbeat? Just to make sure, because some people say, oh, I don't think I can do this. You got a breath, you got a heartbeat, and you can follow instructions. You can do this. So Fred, I'll instruct you. Okay. You'll be my student. On a count of 5, Fred, we're going to breathe in. I want you to hold it and feel or sense your heartbeat, not by putting your hand on your chest, but just by sensing. All right. And I want you to feel, let's say, 5 heartbeats, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Allow your mind to go empty. That's a challenge for you because you're on camera. Do it
I was just going to say, we're off to a head start there.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone who wants to participate, feel free. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Breathe in. Empty. And I'll play a little tune here to help you get still. Five heartbeats. And then exhale slowly through your mouth. And do it again, and then go 6 heartbeats. Now, the group here listening, the average of the group that's participating, their mind is on 5%. They're not still. Still means still. Go empty. And I want you to feel your love as if it's like a ball inside your chest, about the size of a golf ball, full of love. And in that love are all the people, places, things, pets that you love. Feel them. I'll count to 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Breathe in. And using your heart, allow that golf ball to expand to the size of a tennis ball. And in a softball, not with your mind, Oliver, your heart. Mind is still. This is not visualization. You expand your love using your heart, which is your love muscle. And expand it even further to the size of a basketball. And a ball around you. A ball around your home. Around your town. Okay, so now the average effort people are giving is about 40%. That won't cut it. You want to heal, you want to connect to higher love, we need to go to 140%, not 40%. So when I say expand it, I mean expand it. You want to play? Let's play. Do it. This is for your benefit, not for mine. 140%. There's no limit of love. You connect it to infinite love. So keep your mind out of the way. Allow yourself to go still and even go to 10 heartbeats between each breath. Stop talking to yourself. Stop thinking if you're doing it right. Stop wondering and go empty. And from 140%, go to 400%. And expand your love right around the planet to every being, every insect, every animal, every building, every molecule. From the planet right out to the universe. Expand it. To every government, every capital city, every military headquarters, every police headquarters. Expand it. They need it. Every home, every school. And then go from 400 to 4,000%. All heart, mind off. Allow yourself to feel stronger. And demand in your own way from your own soul any dark energies that may be on you to leave permanently. At higher vibrations, which you're on now, that works. Recalling your power. And in that power is your health, your vibrance, your prosperity, your brain power, your intelligence, and that can even rise. Allow your brain power to rise, and I'll help you. Allow the water in your body to purify. Water has memory, both negative, positive. Memories are memories. Allow the water in your body to purify, detoxify. Allow your DNA to rise. So it's got higher quality. The chromosomes that are torn or damaged or repaired. Higher DNA means higher capability, higher intelligence, faster healing. Allow your sense of what's really true to rise. sensing deception quicker and easier. And it's okay to say vibrationally to yourself. Vibrationally means from your soul, I love myself. And part of that is also forgiving myself. I love myself and I forgive myself. And before you go out to try and help the planet, just do something for you. And for some, that may be throwing away the cigarettes or the booze. For others, maybe doing more exercise or eating well, or just some acts of kindness, which not only benefit others, but it benefits you. And feel the difference and changes in your body, mind, and soul as you do this. Now, expand your love. We said 4,000%, go to 40,000. And then 400,000. Right out to the multiverse. And allow those things to come into your life that you've been wanting, that benefit you and others, whether it be business, relationships, love, customers, clients, jobs, opportunities. And see and feel those things happening. See and feel. Really feel. And with that, most importantly, thank the universe for helping you. Okay, on 5. I'm going to breathe in again. You have a glass of water and stretch out a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And with that, those who are listening, go ahead and put in the chat what you felt or experienced. Feel free to share. Share is a part of kindness and giving to all those around the planet. Hello, Kevin Palumbo, Daniela Rusal, Helen Lambert Caligari. Nice to see you. Hi, Jenny Chetty. Lorraine Cummins. Lorraine is a yoga teacher from Ireland. Pierre Angela Sarah. Hello, Annette. Charles, beautiful Annette. Charlie Barley. Nice to see you again. Brunilda. Lovely to see you here, Brunilda. Okay, so in the chat, go ahead and post what you experienced from that, if anything. Fred, what was your experience?
I did TM meditation. That was awesome. I got to a very deep state of peace and tranquility. Just totally gone to a deep place. Yeah, it was cool. It was nice.
That's called above space and time. Follow me?
Yep.
You're in that level of stillness above space and time where things are. Diane Reisman, John Henry Grandellis. Hello, brother. Nice to see you again. Wanda Lilly. Aaron Chitsetter Lundeen. Hello. Extreme peace tingling in hands and feet like I was in another world. You were. Erin, that's called Beyond Space and Time. Trish Papiti, calmness and warmth in the chest and heart. Laura Fabla. Oh, hello, Laura. Nice to see you again. Laura's, well, she was selling a house. She's from Holland. So a beautiful, harmonious pattern felt my heart expand. Very awesome. Yeah, so we do this in a 90-minute to 2-hour session once a month called Self-Healing Mastery Plus. Lorraine Cummins, peace and tranquility. Janet Dedicoat, oh, former nurse from the UK, great warmth all over me, relaxed, wonderful. Oliver Barrett, thank you for calling me out. I live in my head way too much. So Oliver, we have a method called iron frying pan, which obviously for a fee, but I hire someone to come hit you in the head with a frying pan if you think too much. And trust me, a few of those golf ball sized lumps on your head, just stop thinking. Okay. Or you can just use your breath and heartbeat. Without that, Oliver, it's a lot cheaper, and get still. Yeah. Daniela Russell. Okay. Felt peace, calmness, warmth in my hands. That's because some blockages, Daniela, got unblocked, and then the warmth was the result. Susan Lynn Ramsey, beautiful soul from Canada. Susan's in my Healing Genius Mastery training, and she is really good. This is trainable. This is teachable. People can connect to these higher dimensions and then project this energy onto others to help them. And she's really good at it. Natalie Norton Baker, nice to see you again. Tingling all over. Amazing. Beautiful Colleen. Now, Colleen is in Australia, and she's another one of my Healing Genius Mastery students. She's mastering this really, really well. Australia's going to have some great healers. Gita Jaraz, you're welcome. You're most welcome. Vanessa Gannon, hi there. I got teary when I thank the universe. Lots of gratitude. Well, tears is a way of unblocking ourselves. And we all get blocked up. You know what blocks us the most, Fred? It's these things called opinions.
Well, yeah. our mind gets in the way of everything. I notice I do Ericksonian hypnotherapy as part of my modality. I'm an NLP practitioner, and that's part of our training. And when I take people out of their head and get them into deep state, some of them have never got to that level of peace and tranquility before. And I know that people don't understand. Their head's busy. It chews up more energy than doing exercise or work. You know, your brain activity is profound. And I say, well, your iPhone will go flat if you keep texting and leaving the light on. So surely you've got to plug it into a charge somewhere. That's meditation. Just recharge your life, you know, get still. And getting still this way that we just did took me to a beautiful place very quickly, very deeply. So, you know, I love it. It's cool.
Can you see the comments, Fred? This guy, Kevin Palumbo, he's a piece of work. Okay, this guy is one of these alpha males and take charge kind of guys. Peace, tingles throughout my body. Peace and tingles throughout my body. Stillness, clear mind. Congratulations, Kevin. Charlie Barley, he's a brilliant musician from the UK. He saw violet energy and light flowing around. Wonderful to see you, Charlie, again. Yeah, Demetrius Clark, I needed this today. How about that? There are no coincidences. Annette Charles, she's a wonderful healing student of mine in New Zealand. Beautiful lady, felt love and uplifted, happy. Thank you. So you can learn to connect to this infinite energy. You can connect to it to heal. You connect to it to release past events, traumas, dramas, and we all have our share. And it's infinite, pure, organic, and they can't stop you. That's the magic thing. They can't stop you from accessing it. They don't want you to know this. That's why they ban me a lot. So I'm thankful for you, Fred. You're going to be taking this recording, putting it on your YouTube channel, which is FKC Health YouTube channel for Fred. Mine is Healing Genius. This is incredible stuff.
I believe it's on. Powerful. I believe it's on there now. You set it up through Streamland, and I think it's on YouTube as we going live at the moment. One thing I would also like to say to people that we're in times where we're getting a lot of conflicting news and media stuff that's playing with our heads, and I to go stillness and go into the energy fields of your own mind, or no, your own soul, is a sanctuary, because you're getting flooded with so much rubbish, so much crap in the ads. I mean, don't even watch TV ads. They're just peppered with marketing messages of confusion. There was a movie a long time ago called They Live with
Yes.
Roddy Piper. It's one of my favorites, and I reckon you dig it out and have a look at it. It's fiction, you know, but it's
but the
got
message
some.
is so powerful, and the metaphor is not fiction.
The metaphor is not fiction at all. The metaphor is very, very real, and I think, you know, to wring yourself out like a sponge from all this media hit. I mean, Putin cured COVID in a day. I mean, along comes the war, gone.
Yeah.
And we had nothing but Dan Andrews in the media every single day with all this horrific sort of legislative kerfuffle. I don't know if he's in Florida on the beach at the moment. He's just vaporized. He's just disappeared. You know, they'll wheel him back out at the election time. And I just think, people, wake the bleep up. Wake up. Have a look, you know, start to do some critical thinking and start to compare the notes. There was a guy, Dr. Campbell, was putting out all these wonderful videos on how wonderful and efficacy the peaches are, you know, or whatever they are, the little things, you know. And all of a sudden he's starting to go, hang on a minute, all this Pfizer stuff's been released, and the I shared his video. This guy is like out there as an advocate for the pro V, you know, and all of a sudden
the V that we're not allowed to mention, so we're going to call it peaches, but we know what it is, you know, where they want you to inject poisons, toxins, tracking devices, nano antenna, nanoparticles of aluminum and graphene oxide, which have nothing to do with health, nothing to do with immunity. And they want you to have it, and it's got the mark of the beast, 666, which is the frequency of Satan. So you become owned, and it changes and downgrades your DNA, which allows them to own you. That's what those peaches do.
Just the fluoride in the water, which is the calcification of the pineal gland. They're trying to. I said McDonald's was a weirdo, you know. It's to reduce people's consciousness and health. Guys in white coats and little beakers have designed that food scientifically to be deplorable. And
absolutely,
I just think, you know, you've got to realize, well, people should realize we are under a planetary war, an attack of the consciousness and the psyche, and there's a real grasp for human mind control through media, and oh my gosh, it's a can of worms, and it's big, but people should start to critically think. That guy, Dr. Campbell, released a document that was subpoenaed from Pfizer that they said 75 years. Now it shows hundreds and hundreds of abreactions and thousands,
tens of thousands
of side effects.
And to elaborate what Fred is talking about, Pfizer wanted to control the negative effects, the side effects documented from the jabbed peaches. Well, a court ordered them to release it in 6 months. Well, that was 6 months ago, so it just got released about a week or two ago from this broadcast. I tried posting it on my Facebook page, and Facebook said no, you know, against community standards. Yeah, truth is sometimes against their community standards. Well, Facebook learned from Buddha. Truth always prevails, always, not you, not your policies. No matter how satanic you are, truth prevails.
Yeah, they call themselves fact checkers, but I changed the A to a U, you know, like. I mean, when they banned that video from Dr. Campbell, I mean, the guy's just reporting facts.
Yeah.
My God,
Yeah.
what's happened? What's really happened? So I like we don't want to put this video in jeopardy, but all I'm saying is, please, people, I'm not saying whether you should or shouldn't take the peaches or whatever. I'm just saying, for God's sake, open your eyes and start to look. There's
Fred.
the needle and the vaccine are only 2 layers of a giant onion.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
They would have to kill
on.
me, and I still wouldn't accept the vaccine. And soon, when all the side effects and all the negative things come to fruition, they're going to say, well, we never made you take it. It was your choice. That's
They've
coming.
already said that. They've already said that to an insurance claim in France. They said it was an experimental drug. We're not paying the insurance from the death cause. It's already come out. There's just so much. And there's so much more. I mean, that's a whole nother video, what's going on. And that puts me into the area of tin foil on my head and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah, well, those tinfoil morons, that's just a sign of mind control, that they've been controlled. When someone speaks truth, they go into their tinfoil delineation because they don't want them to know the truth. And so that's a mind control injection that they got so that they stop listening. In fact, I had one helicopter pilot. He's a helicopter pilot, Army helicopter pilot, former anyway. And he said, when I started to explain to him things and we started talking about 911, and I said, those were holograms. Those weren't real planes. Those were holograms. And he looked at me and I said, if you look at the frame by frame by frame of the planes going into the building, they don't crunch up like a tin can. They literally go through the building, and then they planted a bomb in the building right where the hologram went in. And so it looks like an explosion, but that's why they didn't find any jet engines or airplane wings and so forth. Big lie. Huge lie.
Can I ask you a question, Ed?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? What do you think the difference is between a conspiracy and a conspiracy theory?
Well, it's not a theory if it's real. It's not
3
a theory
months.
if it's proven.
3 months.
Gotcha. I see. Okay. Yeah. 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 It's no longer a theory, folks. 5 years ago, and I got to tell you, Fred, and not you, but I had lots of Aussies. I would get into quote unquote debates with them on Facebook, and they said, "Oh, America's gun control is out of control." Because America has guns, they don't knock on our doors like they do in Australia. Many Australians have posted how the police are coming to their door saying, "Did you post this on Facebook?" They do that in America. You're going to see dead policemen, head blown off. Okay. We don't tolerate that stuff. And we got the right to bear arms. And I'll tell you this, if Ukraine 20 years ago, they gave up their nuclear missiles under a security pact with Russia. If they had their missiles, Russia would have never attacked them. Okay? You think about it. And I was chatting with, I was living in Ukraine, as I said. So I'm chatting with a lot of my Ukrainian friends. They still have internet, which is amazing. But a lot of the women have escaped to Poland and Eastern Europe and so forth. The men are staying by. They all got guns. And I'm talking doctors, lawyers, taxi drivers, people I knew. They all got guns now. They're all sitting in their buildings. They're waiting. He literally released some prisoners and handed them AK-47s. that's a machine gun. Okay. Can you imagine? Right. But when someone attacks you, you have the right to attack back. You have the right to defend yourself. They want you to think, oh, well, that's not Christian. That's a turn the other cheek. No, turn the other cheek. And other fallacies in the Bible were there to make you a passive slave. Bible is a slave manual. Turn the other cheek. Yeah. Donate 10% to the, those are slave manuals. You want to wake up? And Jesus never said to read the Bible. Let's be really clear on that. He never said to follow a religion. All right. Who was it that said, love everybody and don't sell your sword? You need your sword, because if you can't fight back, you're just a sheep, and sheep have no weapons. They have no horns. They have no weapons. So they have no choice but to be passive. Well, not here.
Just so my audience is clear, and perhaps this will help your audience. Both of us have a passion for love and humanity deeply. And I think the violation of human rights, and it's gone way, way beyond just a needle and a sickness. There's a lot more going on. And I reach out to people to help them cope. And I challenge dysfunctional thinking, and I say to people, you've got to be optimistic and look up. My catch cry is look up and live. I mean, if you're looking down, you're going to see a little 3-foot circle on the ground, and you're going to walk into a parked car and bang your head. If you're looking up, you've got some choices. You've got some choices. You've got a panoramic view. You've got access to all your resources and your thinking principles, your decision-making mechanism. I've had like 10, 15, 20 tabs open at one time, watching hundreds of videos and doing the Tom Cruise Minority Report thing with bits of string and post-it notes. So I've got a good idea, and I'm using a double monitor here as a cathode ray oscilloscope to the world, and I'm watching world events, and I'm saying, oh my God, there's 83% of people asleep. 87% of people asleep. 80, they're just asleep. They're on autopilot, banging around in a jar like Alice, right? And that's a terrible thing to say, but unfortunately, people don't.
You got to tell them. You got to tell them at the risk of offending them, and you're going to offend some. They're going to fight back. They're going to call you names.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, the other 13%, well, 10% are a little bit awake, but they're fleecing the planet. They're fleecing the planet, and they've got the eugenics thing going on. They're awake, but their consciousness is skewed. It's black consciousness. There's about 3% of people awake, really awake, and they're holding the planet together. So, we're talking about the Great Reset. We're talking about the Great Awakening. I just hope people start to get some scales and start to measure stuff, start to do some comparison, because the media narrative defies logic and common sense. And I'm talking to people in my circle that are world players. They're in mind think tanks around the world, and they're saying, this is not good, Freddie. This is going to set us back hundreds of years. Well, we know why it's not good. We know that evil is playing a game to purposely win. And people think I'm a fruitcake when I talk like that, Freddie Fruitcake. But no, I'm not, because I'm watching beloved ones, check out early, and I'm tragically impacted that, people I know have got some new interesting illnesses and diseases that they can't see where they've come from. Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to say, well, yeah.
A doctor friend of mine has a blood sample. He literally saying he can't post it, and this doctor, he's written 20-something books. Now his books are not available on Amazon. Amazon closed them down.
Yep.
He literally has a sample of blood where you see it looks like a school of fish swimming around, but they're bots. They're nanobots in a person's blood. You understand that? Yeah. And you're right. Evil controls the planet. But see, they can't control your soul unless you let them. It's a choice. And you let them by taking in those peaches, and that's how you give them permission. You follow? So it's a choice. And they would have to kill me before I accepted those peaches, and I still won't accept them. And they can't force you. Do you understand why they can't force you to take it?
Well, in some cases, in Australia, they do. There are...
Well, they don't force you. They'll like say, if you want to go to school or if you want to work, you have to. But you still have a choice not to work or not to go to school, right? They don't hold you down and inject you, correct? Or am I wrong?
Well, I don't know about that. I can't comment. There's been some hearsay about the Aboriginal community, and I have no evidence of that, so I can't support that narrative. But I am seeing some pretty concerned people, and I'm part of a lot of Facebook groups that are supposed to be hidden, but people have got to realise that Facebook monitor the messenger just as much as they do the other. They just can gather all the dissonance into their database anyway. So, every word, thought, and almost deed is now recorded. Every text, every phone call. I mean, big data is big data.
Fred, and that's been going on for a lot longer than you imagine.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah. So planet Earth is under dark control. It's purely that simple. And they have figured out that it's easy to control people through technological means, through mind control, through religions, through TV, than having a bunch of soldiers, standing around with guns. That's a really hard way, and that way doesn't work too well. Okay, but the mind control and religion is a form of mind control. Sorry. But that's how it works. And they use the religions. I mean, the Pope came out and declared Lucifer as God. Get that? So people think they got their Bible, and who created the Bible? Who collected it? Well, the Vatican Pope, Catholic. So people say, well, I'm a Christian, I'm not Catholic. Yeah, well, if you're using the Bible, trust me, you're praying to Lucifer, you're giving your energy away. And I always was amazed as I became a healer, and lots of people would come to me, and the religious people seemed to be the weakest, the brokest, the most sick. And I was like, that's not by accident. And I realized how they're giving all their power away, giving all their soul's energy away, blind prayers to mythical gods. And then they would come to me and say, well, how about free healing? And I was like, sorry, I'm not a free service, A. B, you made your mistakes. You have to own up to them. Okay. And following false religions is, well, Jesus didn't charge. So he also didn't work on Facebook. And he never said to follow a religion. Okay. This is the tough truth that few want to recognize. And even further, Fred, I sit there and I tell them, I said, you've been fed such a bowl of lies about Jesus, and you can't handle the truth. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, first off, Mary wasn't a virgin. I said, and the Star of Bethlehem that led the three wise men, it wasn't a star. Stars don't move. Spaceships do. Mary had a connection with a star being from another planet, and he impregnated her. That's why Jesus had his power. Okay? And few ever come to realize that. And the spaceship led the three wise men to the baby. So when he says, my Father in heaven, yeah, my Father in the heavens. Well, that's the stars above. And I'm the only son. Yeah, he's the only son of that. They wanted to make it out like he's the only son of God and you're a sinner. Yeah, what a crock of BS.
I went on an interesting journey in my life. I started out born as a Jew, and then I embraced Hinduism, Buddhism, Zen, Raja Yoga. I chased every religion on the planet. I looked into a lot of things, and I got caught up in the New Age, and that messed me up a bit. And then eventually I went to Christianity. I spent 10 years in there. And I found in the end, after I wrung the sponge out, that God is one word. I don't really need a cacophony of stuff. And my religion is simply be nice. And my star signs is twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I'd like a brand new car. I got very realistic and said, if a spiritual principle can't be tied down to a physical reality, then it's null and void. A spiritual principle or construct, if it can't be tied down to a physical reality, it's null and void. What do I mean by that? I mean basically that when you get humble, and you get down on your knees, really down on your knees, and you pray to God and you say, lift the veil from my eyes, I can't deal with all this stuff. And in hindsight, I looked at the Bible and it was the code just opened up for me, and I could see, there's manipulation here, there's manipulation there, but then real words. As for you, you have the Holy Spirit. You do not need anyone to teach you. So I started to listen to the still small voice in my head. And it started to say, you want a litmus test between good and evil? You know the difference between right and wrong. You've had your senses exercised. Anything that is wrong from a point of view that violates another person is evil. So you have a conscience. It's well developed. A sociopath or a psychopath doesn't have a conscience. You have a conscience. Use that conscience. Use that morality, that love and compassion you have for another human being. And it took me out of the church. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? What's going on here? It said, you're going to be far more useful in the world touching lives than you will be in a tin box.
Folks, this is why Fred's a great coach. This is why I hired him 8 years ago. He's a brilliant coach. You need a great coach. Fred is a great coach. And we got a spammer confidence, Jonah. Get lost hitting your spam around. Lucelle, delete this moron, this spammer. They don't belong around here. I only allow people around me that got integrity. And some people don't like that. Tough. I expect people to keep their word, have a sense of honor, have a sense of courtesy. And yeah, you're right on, Fred, with your principles. You're right on. So, we all come to truth at some point, and they keep trying to interrupt that and distract us with their lies and deception. And that's where it's up to you to discern. It's up to you.
That's it. I have Muslim friends. I have Hindu friends. I have Arabic friends. I have friends from every race, creed, religion. I love these people, and they're beautiful people, and I have deep, intimate connection with them. It's not about me saying, here's my, come into my tent or be damned, like I've got the truth over here. No, I'm open for discourse. I'm open for understanding, and I'm open for all sorts of tolerance, as long as it's not destructive, negating, and evil. And if someone is baying at the moon and it's working out for them, knock yourself out, bay at the moon. It's about people using this life. We've got an opportunity when we're born to the day we die. We've got an opportunity to expand our consciousness. That's it. How much are you going to take with you when you die? How many toys? None. The only thing you'll take with you when you die is how much like love you've become. So if you can ramp up your vibration, your energy, and your love influence, that's what you're going to take with you into the next round. Now, talking about rounds, right? If you draw a square like this screen and you go from one corner to another, come up from, say, the left corner to the right, I don't know how to get that happening, but if you draw a line from corner to corner, at the bottom corner is the birth gate. That's when you're born. And the top corner is the death gate. But you're on a line moving, a point of energy on that line, moving through that gate. Now, Jesus said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. So before that is a little tiny block called the womb. So in there is the conception gate, which is like a birth gate. And then there's a death to the womb and a birth to life. So that line extends through that. Now, if you draw another box below that, it's turtles all the way down. I mean, how many boxes are there? We don't know. And I'm not conjecturing that I know where we come from, but I know we come from Alpha, and I know we come up through that line, through that environment, through the womb, through into life. And then there's another box on the other end. It's open-ended. Maybe I'll come back as a dog or a frog if I'm a Hindu or Buddhist or whatever the case may be, or reincarnate. I know I wasn't a buccaneer in the 17th century. I only know this life. But the thing is, I know I'm a moving point of energy for eternity. And I know this life, it's like a match. You strike it and it's gone. So I know that in this life, I've got an opportunity, to gather toys or get fame and recognition. No one gives a rip. In 20 years after I'm dead, there will be no one on this planet even know I existed. So, all these people are building the edifices of their personality, especially in 2,000 years. Freddie came and gone like an ant on the planet, just like anyone else. But whilst I'm here, every seed of love that I can sow into another human's life, I'm actually sowing into myself, because we're all one and we're all connected, and there's no separation between self and other.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is just brilliant. Fred Krasey, FKC Health on YouTube, fkchealth.com. Really a pleasure to communicate with you today.
Fantastic,
Fred,
Ed.
what if people want to get a hold of you? How do they do it?
Just easy. Facebook. They can get my website. They can find me everywhere, and it'll be in the footnotes anyway. And same if people want to contact Ed. I mean, this was an interesting thing. Ed suggested to go live, and I got excited about that. And I thought, this is a bit risky. Let's do it, And it's taken me outside my comfort zone, and I'm good with that. I like being challenged and stretched. But here we are. There's two people here who really got the best intentions for humanity moving forward and their health and well-being. And hit Ed up. You'll find Ed Strachar, creator, healer, the healing genius. How do they get in touch with you, Ed? What's your deal? Healinggenius.com.
Healinggenius.com. There's a contact button on Facebook. I have several Facebook pages. I have to because they restrict me on one, so then I use others. You beat the system. You beat the AI bots by playing their game. Hello, Ruth Willis. Yeah, sending love. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hello, Elaine Templa Alexis. You're welcome. And ed.strachar@gmail is my email address if you want to email me direct. I'm honored here. Fred, thank you for inviting me. And what he mentioned, he wanted to do a Zoom just between him and I and then place it on YouTube. And I said, let's do it on Facebook Live. And, we can have all these people and make an impact. So with that, wonderful. Fred, thank you for allowing me to come on your great show. People, Fred is a brilliant coach and a master, and he's in Victoria or Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, which has really severe crackdowns, police, BS, trying to enforce their big lies around the peaches and around COVID and all this other crapola. So anyway, with that, much love to all of you out there, and hope you enjoyed it. Fred, thank you.
Thank you, Ed, for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom and your insights. And just know that both Ed and I just want you to be the best version of you can be. That's where we're coming from. We just want you to live a fulfilled and happy life that's creative and contributory. So thanks, Ed, and we'll bow out and we'll see you next time.
Much love to you. All right.
Much
Take
love.
care, folks. Bye.